This feels like the Chris Watts story all over again. I don't know if you guys have heard of the father who unalived his 3 daughters after picking them up from their mother's house for a scheduled visitation. So on May 30th at 5 p.m., Travis Decker picked up 9-year-old Payne, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia from their mother's house and was supposed to return them by 8 p.m. that night. This is the last footage they have of Travis when he went to pick up the girls, and their mother, Whitney, said that when he arrived, he was acting a bit strange. He was more quiet than usual, but she never thought he would ever hurt their daughters. That night, when he failed to return the 3 girls, Whitney called the police and reported her daughters missing, but police told her that because Travis had legal visitation rights, they couldn't immediately issue an Amber Alert. Then, 3 days later, on June 2nd, all 3 girls' bodies were found near Rock Island Campground in Washington. Trigger warning for this part, but the girls were found with plastic bags over their heads and zip ties around their wrists. Travis's truck was found near their bodies, his wallet was inside his vehicle, and there was blood also found that belonged to a man. Travis is still on the run, and investigators found that days before he took his daughters' lives, he searched online how to relocate to find a job in Canada. Now, the mother has spoken out and mentioned that Travis suffered from severe PTSD and BPD after serving in the military and that they failed to provide him with necessary mental health care. What I find so odd about this is that Travis was basically homeless. He was living out of his truck, and Whitney had made a petition to modify the visitations because his mental health was getting so bad. So I don't understand how he was even allowed to take the girls since he didn't have a home.
People who unbelievably cheated death part 2. In 2003 in Wayne County, Utah, Aaron Ralston experienced a climbing accident in which his right arm became trapped between a large boulder and a canyon wall. If this story sounds familiar, it's because it was made famous by the movie 127 Hours. Aaron survived for 5 days on 2 burritos and a bottle of water, and after amputating his own arm, he somehow managed to rappel down the canyon and walked for several hours until he found rescue. In 1982, Stephen Callahan was sailing from the Canary Islands when his boat sank after just 6 days into the trip. Left adrift on a 5-foot life raft, Callahan managed to salvage only 3 pounds of food and 8 pints of water. He managed to survive and travel almost 1,800 miles, dealing with dehydration and even shark attacks. After a harrowing 76 days in the open ocean, Callahan was eventually rescued by a fisherman.
I talked about this mother that gave her 6-year-old son an exorcism to clean him of the demons and ended up killing him in Florida. The body camera footage just dropped of the cops' interaction with Rhonda Paulinese after she killed her son. She was very nonchalant about the entire situation. You can just feel the aura of the video was weird. I'm going to play it for you guys right now. Let's check it out. Also, check out my YouTube video on it. I just did a 6-minute deep dive on the entire situation, breaking down everything that happened. But let's play the video for you guys now.
You have a 17-year-old son? Kid?
17-year-old son?
Or, I'm sorry, a child?
Yes.
Yes. They haven't been to school in this whole month?
Oh, yeah. No. It's just that, I haven't sent him to school yet.
Okay. So, from what I'm being told, they haven't been to school this whole month.
41, that's all 97?
Mm-hmm.
The school is unaware of what's going on with him?
Oh, he's gonna go back to school.
Okay, but at this point, it's already reached a point of truancy.
Hmm?
It's reaching the point of truancy.
This is after the child's been killed. They're about to go see him inside right now. Obviously, they can't show that.
And then go inside, so we can at least he's in it. That's what she said. Oh.
The entire interaction is about 3 to 4 minutes long. Like I said, it's on my YouTube, the entire thing. But this is just such a sad situation for this kid, and the body cam footage, I don't know if you guys felt it, but it was definitely creepy. What are your opinions on this case?
Morbid facts about Mike Tyson, Part 2. While visiting a zoo in the late 1980s, Tyson noticed an alpha silverback gorilla bullying all the others. He offered the zookeeper 10 grand to open the gorilla cage so that he could go in there and smash that silverback snot box. Luckily for the gorilla, the worker declined the offer. Here's a 1997 photo of Las Vegas police facing Mike Tyson after he'd just bitten off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Tyson claimed he was in a primal blacked out state and literally wanted to kill his opponent. Mike had 6 biological children, but his little girl Exodus tragically died when she was only 4 years old. In 2009, Exodus was playing on a treadmill when she accidentally died from strangulation after falling and catching her neck on a power cord. 3 years after signing with Don King, Tyson didn't even know that he had a fan club. When he finally went there, he found a letter from a woman asking if Tyson could call her dying little boy. Tyson immediately called, hung up, cursed out Don King, then started to cry. He said that the call was 1 year too late.
These are some truly unsettling facts, and I found all these on Reddit. Number 1, the world's loneliest whale. There's a whale that resides deep in the ocean that has been singing a song for years, but no other whales can understand it. The reason is because this whale's voice is so deep that it's too low for any other whale to hear. And he's been calling out trying to find a mate or a family member for years now, but nobody can hear him or find him. So he's been swimming deep in the ocean by himself for so long. And it's because of this that scientists have called him the world's loneliest whale. Number 2, Abraham Lincoln. Now we all know Abraham Lincoln. He was like our 15th or 16th president or something like that, had a crazy beard, and he was assassinated. But this is a very unsettling fact about him. The 3 days leading up to the fateful night where Abraham Lincoln would be assassinated, Lincoln had had nightmares detailing his assassination. And we know this because his bodyguard, who was named Crook, actually detailed this entire thing. Lincoln had told Crook about all these nightmares, and Crook begged him not to go to the theater. And all that Lincoln said in return was, "Goodbye, Crook." And he left. And the reason why this was weird was because Crook said every single time that Abe had left, he would always say good night, not goodbye. But he could tell that Abe knew this would be the last time they saw each other. And finally, emergency broadcast. Now we all know what an emergency broadcast is, but in the event of the world ending, CNN has a pre-recorded emergency broadcast from the 1990s that would kind of be like a farewell to everyone. They have this ready to play just in case that fateful day comes, and that to me is truly horrifying, which is why it's perfect for today's video.
So I've been to Thailand, and I can tell you, not only is this a way of life in some places, this is not the furthest it can go. It's a story you've heard before, with an animal losing its natural to people building cities on top of their ancestral avenues. Yeah, except elephants are smart enough to do something about it. Imagine over the hedge, but if the entire cast was 10,000 pounds plus. It's basically living with giant overachieving raccoons that can also turn you 2D, and you don't realize how stealthy a living tank is, till you realize they live their lives tiptoeing, which is why the chances you get carjacked by an elephant are almost zero. Unless you're driving in Thailand. In some parts, elephants have memorized the paths of sugarcane trucks and will literally block the entire road like a one-man toll. Only after they take their share of sugarcane do they let the driver go on their way. And the main guy responsible is this bull they named, of course, the Dawn. And there is no dodging the Dawn because the spongy material in their feet can detect low frequency vibrations from miles away, so they can clock things like an earthquake before it hits or a truck carrying goodies. But the best part is, even though Dawn could probably empty the entire truck, he always takes enough food to feed himself, but not so much that the drivers have to do something about it. Basically, he's just a part of life, and he's even taught other bulls to use the same discernment. It doesn't always go down like that. The elephant-human conflict often gets both sides relieved from the senses, but that is the most professional carjacking I've ever seen. Just light work for the smartest thing alive without thumbs. The more you know, and just for the record, there is definitely an elephant in here.
Here's a test to see if you or someone you know has arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is the extreme fear of spiders. At level 1, we have the daddy long legs. When I find one of these spiders in my basement, it freaks me out. It's definitely the legs, but if this freaked you out, don't watch level 2. Okay, at level 2 we have this spider. I don't know why, but it feels like it's looking right at me. This one honestly makes me super uncomfortable, so we're going to level 3. Yeah, this one freaks me out. One of the biggest things about spiders that I'm afraid of is them biting me, and this captures that perfectly. If you passed all the levels, congrats. Make sure you send this to a friend to see if they can.
In 2005, a 37-year-old man from Houston, Texas decided to go to the beach to fish. The sand on this beach was super compact, meaning that it kind of felt like concrete. So it wasn't uncommon for people to take their cars on this beach. And on this specific day, John decided to drive his truck all the way up close to the shore where he unloaded and began to fish. He waded into the water so that he was about waist deep and began to fish. After a few hours of fishing, the weather started to get a little worse. And John, who had been out there for most of the day at this point, was beginning to feel a little bit tired. So he decided that he would take a nap. But instead of taking a nap inside of his truck, which was right next to him, he decided to crawl underneath it and sleep under the truck. And soon John drifted to sleep. Hours went by and soon it was dark outside. Unfortunately, while John was sleeping, the tide came up and his truck began to sink in the soft sand. and in doing this, it crushed him to death.
So Amy Slayton from TLC's 1,000 Pound Sisters was just arrested, and the way she was arrested is an actual fever dream. Like, honestly, I feel bad because if this goes the wrong way, she could lose custody of her children. So on Labor Day, Amy Slayton, her boyfriend, and 2 children went to a safari park in Alamo, Tennessee. It's basically like a drive-through zoo where you can feed the animals and pet them if they let you. We don't know exactly how it went down yet, but sources are saying that Amy was bit by one of the camels. I don't know if the injury was so bad that Amy called the police or if it's just the park's policy to call the authorities anytime someone is bit by an animal, but the police were called, and when they approached Amy's car, they immediately smelled some green flour, if you know what I mean. And when the authorities looked inside, they allegedly saw the flour and some special mushrooms in plain sight. Amy and her boyfriend Brian Lavorne faced charges of illegal possession of Schedule 1 and Schedule 6, and because the children were in the car, they also faced 2 counts of child endangerment. We know that the children are safe and staying with Amy's family members. But Tennessee's Child Protective Services are still investigating, so this could end very badly for Amy. And as of now, I'm pretty sure Amy is still in the Crockett County Jail on a $10,000 bond. I am unaware if 1,000 Pound Sisters is even filming right now, but if you are, let me know in the comments.
They put a 3-year-old in a shed without water or electricity, and now this couple was just arrested in Georgia for doing so. On top of that, the shed was apparently absolutely disgusting. Their charges include child cruelty, which makes sense. They did leave a 3-year-old in the shed with nothing. And they didn't leave him in there for like a day or 2. They left him in there for like 2 to 4 weeks. He was unsupervised, unwashed. He didn't even have clothes. Authorities have not revealed whether or not, these 2 are the parents or not. They've also not revealed how they even knew the child was being held in this shed, so it must have been some anonymous tip or something. The neighbors were not surprised about the child cruelty charges or how nasty the shed was. Neighbors made a comment on how they weren't surprised given the lifestyle they were living. I'm assuming by that statement these people were nasty inside and out. All we can do now is hope the child can recover from this and go to a happy family. If I'm guessing, these will probably go to jail 5 to 10 years, but if you're from Georgia, let me know if you guys have heard about this story. I think this happened near Atlanta. What are your general opinions on the story? Do you guys think the child was also related to them or not? Maybe it was a nephew or something, I don't know.
Okay, tragic breaking news. At least 10 people have been killed in a school shooting in Austria. Here's what we know. The incident happened at a secondary school in Graz, which is Austria's second largest city, and reports say that the gunman was a student at that school. And considering that secondary school in Austria has kids ranging from just 10 years old all the way up to 18 and 19, he will most likely be between those ages. Local media report that at least 30 people have been injured, some very seriously, and at least 10 have passed away, with 7 of those fatalities being children. A disaster alert has been issued for hospitals in the local area, and the suspect is believed to have shot himself in the school toilet. Austria's chancellor said that there is no words for the pain and grief that all of us in Austria are feeling right now, and their president said this horror cannot be put into words.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 1. The middle of nowhere is an actual place within New Mexico. The legend goes that an elderly couple lived out there with their dog and witnessed many strange and bizarre things. One night, they reported seeing a strange creature that they identified as a Skinwalker. After reporting this to the police, the family had vanished under strange circumstances. Their dog, however, was left behind. This is the story that Courage the Cowardly Dog was based off of. Like and follow for more.
Here's some crazy history that you didn't learn in school. A woman back in 1986 earned her helicopter pilot's license, rented a helicopter, flew it over a prison to rescue her husband, a convicted bank robber, from the roof. You know, whatever it takes, I guess. 2 million people from Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania formed a 600-kilometer human chain that united all 3 countries to show the world their desire to leave the Soviet Union. A mechanic heroically fixed a plane's landing gear mid-flight flight from a moving car in 1985. A person nicknamed Sober Sue drew people out to see her in the early 1900s because she never smiled. A theater literally offered $1,000, which was a lot of money back then, to anyone who could make her laugh, attracting even the most famous comedians. It later came out that Sober Sue suffered from facial paralysis, making it impossible for her to smile. Neptune was only discovered after astronomers noticed Uranus's orbit wobbling. Mathematicians predicted where it was by using Newton's laws, and a telescope confirmed that Neptune was right where they thought it was. And the fact that it was in the 1800s, that's so cool.
Morbid Facts, Part 69. The Grinch as a kid was played by an 18-year-old actor with dwarfism who was barely 3 feet tall. Sadly, he died of heart failure just 2 years after the movie was released. A woman posted this photo to Reddit to show the progression of Alzheimer's through her mother's crocheting. From left to right, the squares show her mother's decline over a 2-year span. When the mummy of Ramses II was transported to France in 1974, it was issued an Egyptian passport that listed his occupation as deceased king. A designer of the Titanic named Thomas Andrews was on board as it sank. His original design included more safety features such as watertight compartments and twice as many lifeboats. But his ideas were rejected because others thought that the extra safety features would make the ship look ugly. He spent his last moments helping to evacuate passengers, and his body was never recovered.
This 2-year-old went missing in New York City, and now they're suspecting that his father threw him into the river. Police are now diving in the Bronx right now to try to find him. The child was last seen in early May with the father, so obviously he's suspect number 1 right now, but he's being suspicious. The mother asked him about where her son is, and he pulled out a knife on her just a couple days ago on June 7th. He went missing on May 10th at 10 p.m. He was last seen leaving a family get-together with his father. The mother also filed a police report that same night, so I think she knew something was going on here. The mother contacted police again after the knife was pulled out on her. The father was brought to court on Monday, June 9th, and when asked about the child's whereabouts, he would not say anything at all. He didn't have an alibi, he didn't have a good excuse or anything, so he's still in custody. They're not letting him leave. The father is 20 years old. I'm assuming the mother's probably around the same age. And like I said, they have a 2-year-old together. Maybe the stress of being a young dad sent him over the edge and he decided to kill his kid. But even so, they have 50-50 custody. Why not just give the mother 100% custody and let the kid live? Like I said in the beginning, they are searching the Bronx River right now to try to find him. That's where they think he was thrown into. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Or what are your general opinions on this story?
How hard is it to throw trash in the trash? Hey honey, trash goes in the trash. Can't count on nobody. Just gonna do everything by myself. So dirty. I'm a dirty little girl. Hello? Why? Why me? I'm a star. I'm a star. I should be on the red carpet. Oh my god. Oh. Ooh. What was I even doing? I don't know. Oh, I can't. It's good vibes, clean my butt, please. Good vibes. Oh. Manifest. But why does God keep sending me the hardest battles? I don't want to go through things that almost kill me but make me stronger anymore.
Imagine hating your family so much that you fake your own death to run away with another woman. Well, that's exactly what this man did. On August 11, Ryan Borgward went on a fishing trip, and that was the last time his wife and 3 kids saw him. His wife reported him missing, and when police went to go look for him, they found his kayak upside down, his car still parked, and his cell phone in the water. So obviously police thought that there was an accident and he drowned, so they had a search team look for him in the water, but they couldn't find him. But then in October, 2 months after he disappeared, police found out that he crossed over into Canada just a few days after he went missing. So imagine, at first the family's devastated because they think that their father is dead, but then they find out that he's alive and he's in Canada. When police got a hold of his laptop, they found out that this man had been plotting how to fake his death for months. He went about getting a new passport, purchased a $375,000 life insurance policy. He wiped out everything from his computer and even changed the emails linked to his bank accounts. But it gets even crazier because police found out that he sent money to a foreign account, and then they find out that he was in contact with a Russian woman this entire time. So did he leave his family to start a new life? But then everything kind of went downhill for him because he sent police a video telling them that he was safe and alive and there's nothing to be worried about. Then he decided to return to Wisconsin a couple of days ago and he was arrested for faking his own death. So my question is, what made him come back? Did his relationship with this woman not work out?
And I'm gonna tell you exactly why that deer put the hooves on that woman and how you can avoid getting violated by venison. So a deer, or really just grazing or hunting animals in general, they'll often leave their deer dependents hidden in one spot for most of the day while they feed themselves. They'll leave the fawn for hours and really only stop by a couple times a day to nurse or groom them. That's actually why the baby Bambis of the world have spots. It breaks up their outline and helps them hide from threats to minor safety. Mama deer will even lick around the baby's undertail area to make it pee and poop, which the mother will eat to minimize the newborn scent, because sometimes motherhood is just a sandwich of shiitake mushrooms. Now what does that have to do with old girl getting the beats put on her like Afro music? You remember how people used to say you should never touch a baby bird because your scent means its mother will abandon it? Well, it's a myth. Most birds can't smell, but it's actually because a lot of the times the fledgling out of the nest is perfectly fine, and the myth is to keep kids from accidentally killing baby birds with kindness. The difference is, in a world of fight or flight, deer can't fly. Also, because there's obviously less predators around us, deer get real lazy with their hiding spots, and I know that because I literally took this video a year ago of a baby deer out in the open. And despite my crippling lesser judgment, I didn't touch him, I didn't even get close to him, and a couple hours later his mama and friends came to pick him up. That's the difference between walking away and getting the brakes beaten off you by a boxing ass Bambi. The more you know. Actually no, because I got curious, looked it up, and it's somehow worse because woman took a picture of a deer giving birth, so the more she knows.
3 people that you won't believe exist. This Indian woman has a condition that makes her grow extra fingers and extra toes inside the womb. Altogether, this woman has 31 fingers and toes. And this person's huge jaws is actually from a medical condition. The condition is called cherubism. Doctors were shocked when this man walked into the emergency room with severe chest pain. And after some ultrasounds to see what was causing his pain, they actually found out that this man had 2 hearts.
This video is going to change how you see the world. This map shows how much forest is covering each state, and honestly, 71% Alabama surprises me. I didn't realize it had that much forest. 89% in Maine, compared to what I know of in Washington and Oregon being around 50%, also blows my mind. I've never been to the Northeast other than New York. This map shows which country is closest to where you live in the United States. Being in Jacksonville, Florida, I live near the Bahamas. I actually put this map up on my Facebook page a few months ago, and everyone thought that I was suggesting that Mexico should take over that part of America, Canada should take over all of the north part of America, Cuba should only take Floribama, just nothing else, just that little spot, you know? Because why not? This map gives us a better idea of what the true size is of each country on Earth without it stretching like crazy. Like, Canada kind of looks like the same size as the United States here. Russia isn't crazy big. Honestly, it's really Africa that's just like the majority of the world.
One Direction's Liam Payne is reportedly dead after falling off a 3-story balcony. When the news first broke, a lot of people, including myself, thought that this was a hoax. But TMZ has since published images showing portions of his body, and the tattoos are matching up. Several witnesses also saw Liam fall from his 3rd-story balcony. We still don't know if this was intentional or an accident. This is where Liam's body reportedly landed. We know the incident happened shortly after 5 p.m. Witnesses say that Liam was acting erratic in the hotel lobby earlier. He apparently smashed his laptop and had to be carried back to his room. We still don't know if someone was in the room with him or if he was completely alone. I'm assuming Liam was still in Argentina because of Niall Horan's concert earlier this month, where he reunited with all of the One Direction members. In the summer of 2021, Liam revealed his struggles with alcohol and prescription drugs in the past, and said that at that time he had thoughts of taking his own life. There is also speculation that this outburst had to do with his ex-fiancée. Her attorney has been trying to send him a cease and desist to stop him from contacting her. All in all, we really don't know if this was an accident or intentional or what caused it. If there's any more breaking news or updates, I will leave a comment below.
How rare is your body? 83.7% of people can roll their tongue, but only 14.7% can make a clover out of their tongue. Only 4% of people have an outie belly button. Believe it or not, doctors can't choose if you have an innie or an outie. It just kind of happens. 10% of people have something called Morton's toe. And this is where your big toe is shorter than the toe next to it. The Statue of Liberty actually has a Morton's toe. I don't know if you knew that. 1% of people have a double row of eyelashes. Although a lot of people would probably be jealous over this, it actually causes a ton of problems. Next, 2% of people have naturally red hair. In order for a child to have this hair color, both parents must possess the gene.
Scary Facts That Will Blow Your Mind, Part 2. The Hoia Baciu Forest is considered the most haunted forest in all of Romania. Hundreds of people have gone missing within these woods, among other things like screams, laughter, babies crying, people being attacked by unseen paranormal forces, strange balls of light, UFOs, and in the very center of the forest lies a clearing where no plant life will grow. It is believed that this spot is a portal to another dimension. What do you think? Like and follow for more.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, and there are hundreds of victims, and no one victim will ever get released.
So we already know that Attorney General Pam Bondi's release of the Epstein files was a pure smokescreen. I mean, I could have told you that months before this even happened. Obviously, they're never going to release any documents that would implicate anybody. And the Epstein issue is an issue that no administration is ever going to be fully transparent in because it involves people from both parties. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is an us versus them issue. It is interesting, though, that she says in that clip that they have thousands of videos. Now, whether you want to believe her or not, that's totally up to you. But my question then is, why don't you release the names of the individuals that are seen in those videos? We all know for a fact that it's not only Epstein in those videos, and we know for a fact that Epstein was recording all of these things, recording his encounters and his guests' encounters with the minors that he was trafficking. So why don't you prosecute any of those people on the tapes? Republican or Democrat, I'm for both of them to be prosecuted. So why don't they just do it? If you want to hear me dive deep into Epstein, it was the first episode of my show, The Conspiracy File, which you can listen to on all podcasting platforms, or you can watch the show in video form on YouTube. And yes, my first episode was Epstein.
This autistic teenager was left alone with his baby brother when the house burnt down.
Listening to both sides, question testimony. I believe the state has, in fact, met their burden, so therefore I am going to find that there is probable cause to charge the individual with the found over for General Sessions Court for both charges.
17-year-old Jacob Morgan lives in South Carolina with his parents and 14-month-old brother Josh. He was diagnosed with autism, bipolar disorder, and had learning disabilities. Aside from that, he was a great older brother who loved giving Josh piggyback rides and making him laugh. In 2015, their parents left Jacob alone with Josh. Around 8 a.m., their entire trailer was in flames. Jacob then runs out to nearby neighbors begging for help while Josh is inside. Jacob tried to go back into that trailer to save him, but neighbors were not allowing him because they had no idea that Josh was still inside. Once first responders arrived, Jacob was sobbing and banging his head, and unfortunately Josh did not survive. Since Jacob was the only one at home with Josh, he was interrogated for 5 hours without his parents or a lawyer. He kept switching his stories around, but with being autistic, the high stress was getting to him. At first he stated that maybe the fire happened because a pillow was leaned against the heater, but later on he revealed that he started little fires in different rooms because he was obsessed with flames. Even with this confession, everyone who knew Jacob knew that he would never want to hurt Josh. Ultimately, Jacob was arrested and he took a plea deal for involuntary manslaughter, third-degree arson, and unlawful neglect of a child. While he was in court, he was sobbing uncontrollably, stating that he didn't mean to hurt his little brother right before he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. In 2022, Jacob ended up being released to go live with his parents. Let me know what you guys think about this case.
Here's the meaning behind beloved rappers' names. Starting off, we have X. He said his name revolves around the unknown in his life, but let's have a listen.
Alright, so X Tentacion means unknown temptation. It's the significance of the X. For some time, the X was the only unknown numeral to me. So, I mean, Tentacion is temptation in Latin. So I actually just pushed the two together in unknown temptation because I feel as if that's what my life revolves around.
Next, we have Juice WRLD. His name was heavily inspired by Tupac and a misspelling, but let's have a listen.
The haircut, like the juice cut, like Tupac, the one he had in the movie. I think world came from me spelling it wrong. I think I was making like an account or something, and I spelled it wrong because world was actually taken like.
And finally, we have Lil Uzi Vert.
I already had the vert part. It was like vertical, like straight up. One day I was rapping and there was this guy, he was out there, he was like, oh man, you rap fast like a machine gun, like a little Uzi or something.
A 21-year-old former student opened fire inside his old high school in Graz, Austria, killing 10 people and injuring 11 others before taking his own life. Authorities say the shooter, Arthur A., was legally armed with a shotgun and a pistol, and may have planned something even deadlier, as a non-functional pipe bomb was later found at his home. He was described as a loner who maintained contact with only one friend, who he did not confide in. Before the attack, he sent his mother a chilling goodbye video, apologizing for what he was about to do. She contacted the police, but it was too late. The victims, mostly teens between 14 and 17, plus a teacher, were caught in the chaos. Some students played dead to survive, and others fled through the hallways. And as gunfire rang out, families waited outside, desperate for news. The first victim, publicly named, was 15-year-old Leah, a Kosovan girl remembered by her family as kind and full of life.
She ate a poisonous cake that was left at her doorstep. 17-year-old Ana Neves was from Brazil, and she was described as a quiet girl who had a few close friends. Secretly, one of Anna's best friends was actually jealous of her, and she was planning something sinister. On May 30th of 2025, a guy delivered a package with a cake inside to Anna's home. Anna wasn't home at the time, so her sister took in the package. Anna arrived home later that evening around 6 p.m. and her sister was so excited to show her this cake because it had a note that said, "A treat for the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." Anna was flattered because she believed this was from a secret admirer, and as she was eating this cake, she had no idea that that was a big mistake. Less than an hour after eating that cake, she started to vomit violently and have severe diarrhea. The following day, her symptoms got worse and her father rushed her to the hospital. Medical staff told her that she had food poisoning, so she was given medicine and hooked up to an IV drip, and slowly she started to get better. Soon she was discharged and sent home because it seemed like she was back to normal. But later that day, once she was home, she fell on her bathroom floor and suffered a cardiac arrest. Once emergency services arrived to her home, she had passed away. Anna's family was trying to figure out how this could have even happened to her, and that's when Anna's sister remembered that there was a strange guy who had dropped off this delivery. Her family contacted the police, and they were able to determine that this cake was bought at a local pastry shop named Menina Trufa. The owner of the shop spoke with police, and she stated that an order was made for this cake and that an unknown delivery guy from an app had picked it up and delivered it. Police tracked down the guy who delivered this cake, and he was able to get the address of the person who ordered this cake, and it ended up being Anna's best friend. That friend was brought in for questioning, and at first she denied everything and stated that she had nothing to do with her friend's death, but after hours of questioning with the police, she admitted to everything and stated that she had laced the cake with arsenic that she had bought online for $11.50. She stated that she only meant to scare Anna and didn't mean to harm her at all. She ended up stating that she did this to someone else by sending them a poisonous cake as well because two of her boyfriends left her for this girl. This other victim became extremely ill, but fortunately she survived. This friend was sent to a young offenders institution, and her identity is currently being hidden, and there is no updates on any kind of sentencing.
This is the most lawless island on Earth. It's illegal for anyone, including law enforcement, to go there, as many attempts have been made, and eventually we just gave up. It's called North Sentinel Island, off the coast of India, and it's home to one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world, the Sentinelese. And we managed to catch a glimpse of what life looks like for them. Now, uncontacted tribes are more common than you think, with about 100 remaining in small pockets around the world. Nomadic hunter-gatherers who never adapted to modern civilization and have been living the same way for literally tens of thousands of years. Most of them live in the Amazon rainforest in South America and may occasionally come across signs of modern society like explorers or equipment left behind by them. What makes North Sentinel Island so dangerous is that it's a remote island surrounded by the ocean, which is all their inhabitants have known for their entire history, which according to studies is about 60,000 years, and sits over 500 kilometers away from its closest mainland civilization, Myanmar. Although its closest neighbor, the nearby Indian territory of the Andaman Islands, is just about 30 kilometers away. There have been a few incidents of outsiders visiting them, and it almost never ends well. Anthropologists have been dying to get a closer look at them, but anytime boats or helicopters get close to the island, they get attacked by spears and arrows by the Sentinelese. First recorded instance was in 1867 when an Indian merchant ship was wrecked on the island and the passengers were immediately attacked by bows and arrows. They managed to fend themselves off for a whole week before they were rescued. In 1974, a film crew shooting a documentary visited the island with gifts, from which the Sentinelese were caught on camera for the very first time. But they still attacked them when they got too close. On Google Maps, you can see a transport ship that got wrecked on the island in 1981, potentially kickstarting an Iron Age for these people. Then, in 1991, the first ever peaceful contact was made by anthropologist T.N. Pandit, who sent gifts of coconuts to the island for a whole 24 years before the tribe finally accepted him. They actually ended up having quite a few friendly close encounters with each other over the next several weeks, and to this day remains the closest we've ever gotten to befriending them, because they sure switched up the next time we came back. In 2006, 2 men fell asleep in a fishing boat that drifted too close to the island, and the Sentinelese attacked and ended their lives with arrows in their sleep. After this incident, a 5-kilometer exclusion zone was made around the island, making it illegal for anyone to visit. As recently as 2018, a missionary illegally visited the island on a fishing boat to spread Christianity among the tribe. He tried multiple times to make peaceful contact once again, and even had his Bible shot by an arrow, recording it all down in his journal, which was recovered from his boat. But then he found out exactly why this island is off limits. He wrote his last journal entry of heading onto the island and was never seen again, presumed either captured and or ended by the tribe. Rest in peace, John Allen Chow. Around the same time, never before seen drone footage taken deeper inland of the island was captured up close for the very first time, showing us how they live, their shelters, pathways, and even a large dome that could serve as a marketplace, a theater, or even a religious site of sorts. And also captured the Sentinelese people themselves in their natural habitat, each one of them curiously looking up at the drone, which they probably thought was a demon or maybe even a god that may become part of their culture's mythology in the centuries to come.